Hi. So I am still prepping for the presentation I'll be doing in the GTech Summit in the Genoa area schools. And just as a recap, the presentation is called Looking Up into the AWS Cloud. And we're just going to be focusing on AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, and some of the resources that high schools can start incorporating into their computer science classes to help teach students some of the cloud computing skills, which is such a high demand right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put this. I'm just going to go through here. So I'm going to start with the introduction to myself. I'm just going to go through and just do it. So, as an introduction to myself, I am the computer science program manager at Hocking College. I have been an adjunct at Marshall, teaching classes like computer applications in business and information systems management, I think is the name of the other course that I teach there for about 4 years now, going on 5. Myself and Hocking College are an AWS Educate partner, and we also are I have a cloud practitioner certification. So AWS, what is AWS? AWS is Amazon Web Services, and it's a subsidiary of Amazon. Everybody knows what Amazon is. It provides on-demand cloud computing platform to individuals, companies, and governments on a metered pay-as-you-go basis. I'll go ahead and just kind of bold this. Provides an on-demand computing platform. Because there's a lot of, I don't know, it's not big words, not confusing words, but there's a lot of words. And sometimes I just kind of want to bold out what the big things are of it. Provides on-demand cloud computing platform. And pay-as-you-go is the other big thing there. Okay. So why should we learn about AWS? The demand for cloud computing professionals will continue to grow. Improve earning potentials for high school graduates, career center graduates, and community college graduates. Anybody who has some skills in cloud computing is a field where they have improved earning potentials and secure jobs. Improves expertise and promotes credibility, and cloud technology is the past, present, and the future. So Amazon is always continuing to grow their services that they have within AWS. And so here's a screenshot of some of the services that are in there. The goal of someone who's entering into the cloud computing field is not to be a professional at all of that. That's not really necessary or realistic. It's to, whatever field that you're in, if you're interested in AR and VR, to be familiar with the tools like Sumerian and AWS. If you're in the field of database management, if you're in the field of robotics, in the field of building apps, mobile, security, identity, and compliance. So there's all kinds of different services and fields and categories within AWS. So, the goal is to kind of find whatever to grow in your skill set and whatever your niche is, and just grow in it. And there's multiple categories and services there. So again, the goal is not to be a professional in all of it, just to in whatever your field is. Where is AWS? Let's see. I need to do something with that. Make a note here. Let's see. So basically, I need to talk about AWS, and I don't know how much I need to talk about this. It's made up of availability zones, edge locations, regions. I think I remember that right. So, So I think I need to talk about that a little bit. Yeah. So I need a little bit more research on that. But that did show the map of where all the different locations, regions, and availability zones. If you look into the minute picture, like the details of it, where the data centers are and the availability zones, the edge locations and the regions are. So you can see that there's locations pretty much, globally. And AWS is available, as I say, the AWS cloud spans 66 availability zones with 21 geographic regions around the world, with announced plans for 12 more availability zones and 4 more regions in Bahrain, Cape Town, Jakarta, and Milan. So I think I need to do a little bit more research into that to give us a better idea of where it's at and how widespread it is. So going to talk about the job opportunities. So here's a couple clips from job postings that are out there. This is from Tata Technologies, and it is a job posting for an AWS cloud engineer. And I'm not going to read everything, the responsibilities and technical skills, but you can see that the salary is around $90,000 a year. And they do want, there's a couple of things that they want experience wise: cloud-based developer, AWS Glue, Kinesis, etc. I'm not familiar with those. And prefer the bachelor's degree. And what I find this interesting is that I've been seeing several job postings that they'll range anywhere from no degree required, other than high school, to needing bachelor's and master's. But the field is the way the job market is right now. If you have certificate in the way the technology field is specifically, if you have certifications in this particular field, that sometimes there might be some leniency on the diploma, on the degrees that you have, the official education. Not saying it's always going to be the case, but you'll have a little bit more leniency, I think, if you have some certifications. What I find so interesting about the technology is that, the certifications seem to be where a lot of the jobs lie. I've talked to some employers on the flip side of that. I've also talked to some employers who say they require at least an associate's degree. It just shows that the potential employee has developed some of the soft skills that's needed to work, play well with others, more or less. They've learned how to learn. They know how to work well. They've learned, how to communicate. They've learned a lot of the skills that they need that some people, especially those in the tech field, again, may not be all that well adapt naturally. We tend to be a very introverted people and just like to be in our own little silos. So sometimes that is the bigger struggle, the soft skills, as opposed to, the hard skills. But going back to this, so there's some of the, like I said, the technical skills that they need and the experience. And like I said, the bachelor's is preferred, but I don't see anything that actually required a minimal degree, again, short of the experience. And that's something you can get with certifications. Yeah. So here's another one. It's Cloud Native Associate Architect. It's with Accenture, which is out of Columbus. And going to basic qualifications, cloud development, architecture experience. This one does require, but it says bachelor's degree or equivalent, minimum 12 years work experience. If associate's degree, must have minimum 6 years work experience. So, like I said earlier, there might be some leniency on that. Requires 100% travel, Monday through Thursday. Experience deploying a system into a production cloud native environment. Experience in web scale applications. Certifications. Professional skill requirements. Proven success leading, managing, team oriented. So you can see some of the skills that they're needing. And does this say a pay? I don't think so. But Yeah. So maybe need to find a pay. Oh, but it does say, agree, we have been consistently recognized as Fortune's 100 best companies to work for the last 10 consecutive years. So I'm not sure what exactly the pay is, but evidently they're not a bad place to work for. So those are a couple of examples of jobs that are available, and there's a lot more, but there's just a couple of examples of jobs that are in clouds. So, we kind of talked a little bit about the opportunities that are available in cloud technology, and now we're going to start talking about how to teach the cloud computing technology. So, what is AWS Educate? AWS Educate is Amazon's global initiative to provide students comprehensive resources for building skills in cloud technology. They focus on real-world applied self-learning experiences. They offer young learners access to self-paced content designed to introduce cloud computing technologies that drive innovation in fields such as artificial intelligence, voice and facial recognition, gaming, medical advancements, and more. Should I highlight about any of this? Provide student. So Amazon's global initiative to provide students comprehensive resources. Let's do that. Focus on real world. Offers young learners access to self-paced content. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. So the demo, okay. And the reason I did this was because to access it online, you need internet access, and learn not always relying on internet, in some places. Let's see. But I can go straight to here. So this is your classroom. Let's see. So the way you can, I'm just going to show some things on here. You can, request or go to an AWS Educate Classroom, request credits for your class. To utilize AWS services, most of them, not all of them, it just depends, cost money. The point of utilizing the cloud is to save you your cost in regards to, the capital expenses that you would need in purchasing equipment. And to save you from the mundane of the technology updates and the upkeep, if that's not exactly your field. But, it does cost. So what AWS Educate does is provides credits so that your students can build services or build or deploy whatever it is that they're going to be doing without, having to cost you have a credit. You can do AWS Educate in your LMS. I've not used that, and it probably won't because I don't think it's compliant with our LMS, but I haven't looked into that too much. Request registration link for your class. So you can have students register in a couple different ways. You can do a bulk upload. I need to do a little more research on that. So the way I've done it was different. And then when I went to the summit, they said there was another way of doing it. So let's see, let me go back in here and make notes. Just going to create some stuff here. Yeah, so looking at, there's a couple different ways to do it. So what you can do yourself, there's 10-minute cloud tutorials for your students, and you should be able to access. this is your stuff as well. Cloud tools for the classroom. So let's see. Let's run a serverless world. Hello. Okay, so this is one of the tutorials. Run a serverless hello world with AWS Lambda. In this tutorial, we'll learn the basics of running code on Lambda without provisioning or managing servers. We will walk through how to create a hello world Lambda function using Lambda console. We will then show you how to manually invoke the Lambda function using sample event data and review your output metrics. And it's done in free tier eligible. So let's go here, enter a Lambda console. When you click here, so let's go through this. Now, what I usually like to do is to make this into a new window. And the reason for that is I can just hit Alt Tab. I'll take it back and forth. So click here. I already did that. So you can keep the step by side. Find Lambda under compute. So I'm just going to type in Lambda. It would have been under compute, wherever compute is, but just type it in. Select a Lambda blueprint. It looks like that's stuff I've done before. I'm going to take this out just so you can kind of go to the page that we see in the, there's nothing, it's just stuff I was practicing on. Should have deleted. Someone charged me, but the charges are so minimal, I'm not terribly concerned about it. Okay, let's try this again. Go back to the console. Lambda. Okay, so the reason I did that is because I was wanting it to take me to a screen similar to that. The reason it took me to a screen that did not look like that in the beginning because I already had some functions created, and yeah. So and we're going to create a function. Okay, sorry. Select blueprints. Now this is where things get kind of frustrating with AWS. It does not quite match. That's just something, it's tech, it changes, and sometimes tutorials don't catch up with it, and that's just the reality of it. So select blueprints. I'm going to use a blueprint. Folder box, hello world Python. So click on that, click configure. Oh, I guess I already did that. Yeah, I already did that. Okay. Configure and create your Lambda function. Consists of code you provide. A Lambda function consists of code you provide, associated dependencies, and configuration. The configuration information you provide includes the compute resources you want to allocate, for example, memory, execution timeout, and an IAM role that AWS Lambda can assume to execute your Lambda function on your behalf. So we're now going to enter the basic information about our Lambda function. So the basic info is the name. You can use your Lambda function here for this tutorial. Enter hello world Python. Role, you will create an IAM role referred to as execution role with the necessary permissions that AWS Lambda can assume to invoke your Lambda function on your behalf. Select create new role from template. Okay. I thought it was going to open up another screen, but I guess not. Row name, type Lambda basic execution. In the bottom page, we're going to click create function. It doesn't say that on there, so I'm just going to leave that alone and see what it does. Create function. Oh, I guess it already exists. I guess I already did that. Try that. So we successfully created the function hello world Python. You can now change its code and configuration to invoke your function with a test event, choose test. So let's go back to that. Okay. Runtime. Currently, you can alter your Lambda function code in Java, Node.js, C#, or Go, or Python. For this tutorial, we're going to leave it on Python 2.7 as the runtime. Okay, runtimes, well, it's 3.7. Again, things change. Handler, you can specify a handler, a method function in your code where AWS Lambda can begin executing your code. AWS Lambda provides event data as input to the handler, which processes this event. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there. So in this example, Lambda identifies this from the code sample, and you should be pre-populated with Lambda function. Lambda handler it is. Scroll down to configure your memory, timeout, and VP settings. For this tutorial, leave the default Lambda function configuration values. Let's see, configure memory. What am I configuring again? Memory timeout and VPC settings. It looks like that's under basic settings. Starter AWS Lambda. Okay. Memory 128. 128. Okay, just looks different. Timeout 3 seconds. Okay, that's fine. No VPC for the network. No, okay. Invoke Lambda functions and verify results. The console shows the hello world Python Lambda function. You can now test the function, verify results, and review the logs. Select configure test event from the drop-down menu called select test event. So select, is that what it said? Configure? Yeah. So the editor pops up to enter an event to test your function. Configure, so choose hello world from the sample event template list. Okay. Type in the name of the hello world event. You can change the values to JSON, but you don't change the event structure. So we can replace that with hello world. Select create. I hit you. Create. Oh, okay. And click test. Okay. So that's what it says here. Successfully create the function hello world Python. You can now change its code and configuration to it. Okay. Click test. Succeeded. Logs. So upon successful execution, view the results in the console. The execution's results section, verify section is succeeded. Yep. Yep. The summary section shows the key information reported in the log output. Okay. The log output section will show the logs generated. Okay. So monitor your metrics. AWS Lambda automatically monitors Lambda functions and reports metrics to CloudWatch to help you monitor your code as it executes. Lambda automatically tracks the number of requests, the latency per request, and the number of requests resulting in an error and publishes the associated metrics. Invoke the Lambda function a few more times by repeatedly clicking the test button. This will generate the metrics that can be reviewed on the next step. Okay, and you can see this changes. There's probably other stuff changing somewhere. And that changes. I need to practice with this a little bit more and have a better understanding of what exactly this is. There. Scroll down to view the metrics of your Lambda function. Lambda metrics are reported through Amazon CloudWatch. You can leverage these metrics to set custom alarms for, okay, we're not going to do that. The monitoring tab will show 6 cloud metrics: invocation count, invocation duration, invocation errors, data invocations, iterator age, and DLQ errors. With Lambda, you pay for what you use. After you hit Lambda, free tier limit, you're charged based on the number of requests for your functions and the time your code executes. Let's see. Let's go down here. Is this where it said to go? Let's go down and view metrics. Where is that? Oh, there it is. It's under monitoring. It's one of those things where you gotta find it. Okay. So you can see invocations and yeah. And this will probably matter more whenever you have something actually created. Let's see. So now we're going to delete so we don't get charged. Select actions. That's, yeah, you saw me do that when we went first time. So I'm going to go back to Lambda. Where's my dashboard? Lambda. Applications. Nope. Functions. Oh, there we go. Click on that. Delete. Delete. Let's delete it. Okay. So I think what I need to do in preparation for this presentation is to play with a tutorial, show a 10-minute cloud tutorial for your students so they can kind of see it. Let's need to pick one. Okay. And record it in case, yeah, if Wi-Fi doesn't work. The Wi-Fi doesn't work. I don't know how well video. I had to figure that out. Probably have to download. I don't know. Okay. So then we go talk about how to incorporate into classes. You can, if you have computer science classes, this is a great way to, build some content in it. You can also use platform for computing services. If you have a CS class that's, web development, database management, app development, gaming, IoT, machine learning, AI, whatever, after school program, after school activity, or just something that gets to their interest. Sometimes in my experience, they get really excited about something when something that interests them. if something's too big or too vague, or they don't understand how they can apply it to something that they really, really enjoy, the interest isn't there. But once you find that connection and then they find that spark, as I say with my girls who code, that it's a lot easier. I had a student ask me in regards to all the services that AWS has and certifications and stuff, which one was easiest to learn. I think he just saw the dollars, salary, and he's like, which one's easiest? I was like, the one's easiest, the one that you have an interest in, because that's just the easiest one to learn. Whenever you have an interest in something, the whole concept of learning it and studying is just fun. Okay, for me, anyways. But it does help whenever you have an interest in a particular subject that you want to invest the time and the time and the frustrations and the energy to continue studying and build upon your skill sets. So this is, you can see as I'm doing this that I'm finding little things that I need to do better, be more prepped on, which is the whole point of me doing this, these practice runs. And, it takes practice. I think sometimes, I'm guilty of myself that I assume a presenter just wings it. They present everything, and I'm sure with years of experience, there are some things that they can kind of, do on a whim. This is not something that I could do on a whim. It takes preparation, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes practice. So this is what I'm kind of sharing, that experience of practicing. And you see me flub, you see me thinking out loud. It's better to think out loud here than as it is as opposed to, in the presentation. So this is my process, and just, want to share the process with you. And if you have any questions, I need to put that on the last slide. Let's go ahead and do that now. Shoot. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Okay. Put my Twitter handle on there. It's probably with a Twitter bird on there too as well. Why is it so big? Oh, I heard that they changed it. I just hadn't seen it yet. Bloody hell. Okay. That's good for now. I'll do more later. I should probably do LinkedIn. And they're pretty nerdy to where that came from. I used to sell, stuff. Okay. But actually came from because I was doing some research on something, and my husband, bless his heart, he called me an effing nerd. I was like, he did it, and as an endearment, I think. But so I was like, you know what, I am pretty nerdy, aren't I? And there it goes. So that's when people ask me how I got that. I was like, well, that's how I got it. My husband called me an effing nerd, and I changed it into my own little thing. He was more the jock in high school, and I've always been the nerd. But anyways, so that is what I'm doing so far. If you have any questions, you saw me, you still see it. Okay. So that's it for now. Stop. Nope, that's not what I want.